The Vatican released a new document yesterday urging the faithful to be reflective, not reactive, on social media. The 20-page pastoral reflection addresses challenges Catholics face when using social media platforms. It raises red flags over social media pitfalls, including information overload and constant demand for people's attention. Joining us now from Rome is Andreas Tonhauser, EWTN Vatican Bureau Chief. Andreas, great to see you. Can you tell us more about these guidelines?
Sure, Tracy. So yesterday, the Vatican's Dicastery for Communications, that is Pope Francis's official communications department, presented a new document on social media. This so-called pastoral reflection uses the parable of the Good Samaritan as an analogy, helping us to make social media more humane. Many will not associate the Vatican or Pope Francis immediately with social media, but the Holy Father has quite some reach in the new media. @Pontifex, this is the English-speaking Twitter account, for instance, has more than 18 million followers. And across the other 8 languages that Pope Francis is tweeting in, he has more than 50 million followers. So add to that Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and then you can see that the Vatican has a quite impressive influence in the new media world. The communications department actually does know what they're speaking about when issuing a guideline for how to use social media from a church perspective.
And Andreas, can you give us an overview of exactly what the Vatican suggests when it comes to social media?
So there are 5 things described as pitfalls in this document. First, the digital divide. We should be aware that not everyone has the same access to the digital world. Many are left out and are left behind. Second, the digital space is a commercial space. We pay with our attention span for using platforms that appear to be free, but in fact have been created to earn money. Third, fake news is also a growing concern according to the document. While everyone advocates for transparency, the lines between fact and fiction blur easily in the digital world. Fourth, there is the echo chamber phenomenon. Online, we primarily encounter people who share the same interests and the same ideas, and that creates a new form of tribalism. And fifth, the misperceived anonymity of the digital space triggers aggressive and violent behavior at times. Many are therefore hurt in the digital world, having suffered from cyberbullying and exclusion. This document reminds us also that God only can be experienced in real life and real relationships. But after all, this document, Tracy, is not a condemnation of everything digital. It's quite on the contrary. It is nuanced and encourages us to use social media along the lines of the parable of the Good Samaritan. Our digital encounters should be encounters of love, of help, of support. And these new social media guidelines encourage each and everyone to be beacons of hope and messengers of Christ in the digital world. Also, the World Wide Web can and should be used for reaching people for Christ.
And Andreas, I'm curious, on a personal level, are these new digital guidelines from the Vatican, do you find them to be helpful for you, and do they inform your use of social media?
Yeah, Tracy, I honestly think they're very useful. I have teenage kids myself, and the use of social media and digital devices is a big topic in our family. This new document gives great advice when it comes to the family and our exposure to digitalization. It also helps me to reflect as a father, how often do my older kids and younger kids see me with maybe a cell phone, working, reading, or doing whatever with it? And how often do I put it down intentionally and take time for them? So the new guidelines encourage us to do an examination of conscience, as they call it, on our digital behavior. A great recommendation, in my opinion, Tracy.
Absolutely. Andreas, thank you so much for this report. We appreciate it.